Live from the One Button Studio, I'm Bryce. We are back. Between the 20s is back at it in 2020. Here we are. Big 20 year for us, I guess, even though we're all 21 at this point, so that kind of kills the 20 joke. But, yeah, we're back. The NFL playoffs have started. We're sorry we didn't cover the first round. We were all busy vacationing at different places, so feel bad for us.
That's true.
But now we are here to break down the divisional round through the Super Bowl, give you our picks game by game, and kind of talk through it. So, with that, we'll start with Amir. First of all, how you boys doing? How you boys doing? I guess that's the better way to do it.
I'm doing good.
Back.
I'm doing good.
He's doing good. How are you doing, Bryce?
New Year, same
Bryce
show.
got this for Hanukkah.
I'm thinking this for
This
Hanukkah.
new getup. We are good. We are new wardrobe.
My new quarter zip, everybody.
Very exciting.
You're
Very
wearing
exciting.
the same quarter zip. As
This is not a quarter zip.
Same sweater as
Same,
usual.
very similar sweater. I think this was the sweater that I had the stain on that one time.
Gotta check out the bloopers.
Gotta
for
check
that
out the
one.
blooper reel. But yeah, so here we are breaking down the divisional round today, and then subsequent rounds. But we'll start with the divisional round. That makes sense. So Amir, first game is Minnesota, San Francisco. Who do you have winning? Minnesota at San Francisco, I should make clear.
Yeah, we're starting out west here with the number 1 seed San Francisco against number 6 seed Minnesota. As everyone knows, Minnesota pulled off the upset against the Saints in New Orleans, which was a great win for them. And they showed a lot of promise. And so I think this is going to be a tough game for San Francisco. But I don't think I can pick against San Francisco out in San Francisco. I think it'll be tough for Minnesota to get everything going. We don't really know if Kirk Cousins can do what he did in 2 primetime games in a row. He's never really done it before, even once. So I'm not comfortable with picking Minnesota. I think San Francisco is too good. That defense and their running game is really what it takes to win in the playoffs. So if they've got it, I'm rolling with San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm with you. This one's pretty easy for me too. I'm gonna take take San Francisco. Mike's a big hater of San Francisco, so as you know, because he picked them to finish as the 5 seed, which of course they did not.
Okay,
It could have.
They were literally inches away from being the 5 seed. It's not the worst pick in the world, my word.
But still, I'm going to take San Francisco here. Their defense is just absurd. The Minnesota offensive line isn't spectacular. Kirk Cousins is going to get harassed all day. That being said, he is pretty good outside of the pocket, top 5 passer in terms of completion percentage, passer rating outside the pocket. But still, Nick Bosa and everybody else on that defensive line is unbelievable. And they get Jaquiski Tartt back in the secondary for the San Francisco 49ers. Good safety there.
I have a bit of a hot take here. I'm going to go with the Vikings. We all, if you go back into the videos, way back into our playoff prediction before the playoffs even began, we all had the Saints winning the Super Bowl. They just lost to the Vikings.
Worked out real
I didn't
well
have the
for
Saints
us.
winning. I had the Patriots winning.
Real expert advice here. But no, to be honest, we all thought the Saints were a really good team. There was no reason to believe that. I mean, there was a Drew Brees injury, but Drew Brees came back and he looked very good after coming back from that injury, even though Teddy Bridgewater was undefeated as the starter. But, I mean, they took out a very good team there, and I think that Minnesota has that sort of upset potential where they're a team, their offense isn't fantastic, but they do have a very good running back, very good line play, and obviously a pretty good defense. I mean, they really played well against the Saints, and I question the 49ers' offensive capabilities here, especially in the playoffs. Jimmy Garoppolo, not a very experienced quarterback behind there. Their wide receivers leave a lot of question marks out there. I think we can all agree. They had to trade midseason for, what was his name again? Emmanuel Sanders. And Deebo Samuel has come on as sort of a hot commodity, but I don't necessarily think he can continue that into the playoffs. They have that triple threat at the running back position that I'm personally not that fond of.
Just because they're not big names doesn't mean they don't produce.
Mostert, Breida, and Coleman.
How good has Mostert looked, though?
All 3 have been great.
Really,
different
the number
points
one
of the
rushing
season.
offense in football.
I still would give the rushing advantage here to the Vikings.
I mean, yes.
I agree.
Dalvin Cook's a
Dalvin
better
Cook's
running back.
much better
Alexander
than the three
Madison's
of
a
them.
great running back as well. I'm not even going to call it change of pace. He's almost the same running back, but he's pretty good too. A little more downhill than Cook is, but Cook is explosive.
But I just feel that this is a game where the Vikings can come in and I think play. I don't think San Francisco is going to break away at any point in the game, and I just think that in those one possession games it might get thrown up in the air a little bit, and I don't really think the Niners have enough to go past the Vikings.
So Mike is saying take Minnesota at the spread this week. They're going to cover.
Yes, that's what Mike's
I definitely think they're going to cover.
He's picking them to win outright.
I'll pick them to win
Take the
outright.
money line. I will say, in terms of all the wildcard teams, Minnesota's up there as a team that I would have picked to play spoiler. I think they could have. They're missing Mike Hughes on the back end, their second cornerback. He's pretty good, especially with Xavier Rhodes having a down year. Adam Thielen's coming off injury, and I watched that whole game. He did not look very good. He dropped a couple key balls. His routes were not very crisp. They didn't use Stephon Diggs all that much. They were leaning on the running game, and San Francisco has just an elite defense, and Minnesota, even with Jimmy Garoppolo being an average quarterback, they still, I don't think, have the capacity to stop guys like Deebo Samuel or the running game. Bless you.
Oh, man.
I don't think they have the capacity to stop guys like Deebo Samuel because Xavier Rhodes having that down year again. Mike Hughes, their fastest cornerback, he's out, so they don't have anyone to keep up with Deebo Samuel, who's electric.
Yeah. I mean, even with that being said, they still beat the Saints, so they're no slouch.
In New Orleans.
In New Orleans, in the Superdome.
That's a very difficult place to win a Super Bowl.
Totally
New Orleans came in averaging 40 points, 40 points in December, which is just insane. They were riding hot, New Orleans, but
they're held to what, 20, right?
Held to 20, yeah.
20.
Final score 26-20 for the Vikings, so that was a great game from them. But I think just the way that these teams match up, I think the front seven of San Francisco is really going to do a good job of beating down that O-line of the Vikings. So that's why I'm rolling with San Francisco. I just think it just comes down to the line play.
The line play.
This is going to be a battle of wits, though. You're talking about maybe the best offensive coach in the league in Shanahan and maybe the best defensive coach in the league in Mike Zimmer going up against each other. That's going to be fun, a nice chess match, akin to Belichick McVay in last year's Super Bowl.
And you're talking about the inexperience on San Francisco. Yeah, their quarterback's not very experienced, but he has been to 2 Super Bowls. He was on the bench. He was on the bench for both of them.
It's true.
But he still is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Also, Emmanuel Sanders has been to a couple Super Bowls, and he actually did play. He contributed, so he knows what it takes. So I actually don't think that they're as inexperienced as you might think.
If he had remained on the bench in New England, it would be a very exciting time for Jimmy G.
It's Stidham time.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to our second
Tank for Tua.
NFC game. Seattle at Green Bay. We'll start with Bryce this time. Who do you have?
This is the only game that I think is more cut and dry than the one we just talked about. Green Bay Packers are going to win this game pretty handily. Seattle is a great team. We were talking about that. Mike obviously picked them to win the West. Great team. They've struggled of late. DK Metcalf had a great game. 160 yards, set the record for rookie receiving yards in a playoff game. But do you understand how hard it is to go? Amir and I were talking about this before. Yeah. Amir mentioned this. How hard it is to go and play in Lambeau. And Aaron Rodgers is on a mission. He hasn't won the game. He hasn't won the whole thing in a decade. Green Bay's gonna take it to him.
I agree. I think just the fact that this is in Lambeau is just what sways it for me. If this was in CenturyLink, if this was in Seattle, I actually think I would pick the Seattle Seahawks. But Lambeau gets cold and rainy and snowy, and it is horrible conditions. And in those kinds of games, you want to run the ball. And you think, okay, Seattle has a good run game. Well, not anymore. They've lost their 3 running backs, CJ Prosise, Chris Carson, and Rashad Penny, all in the last 4 weeks of the season. And they're down to guys off the street, Marshawn Lynch. They got beast.
It's quite the guy to have off the street, though.
He's right. Yeah, that's right. But he was on his couch like 3 weeks ago. So
actually,
I don't know if I can trust that running
shots game. At the Raiders
game. Hey, at least he knows how to party. And the Packers have one of the best 1-2 punches in the NFL with Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. And of course they have that bad man up in Lambeau, Aaron Rodgers. So can't count out Packers this weekend.
Yeah, I agree with the Packers pick. These two teams frustrate me. I thought the NFC was strong. I felt that there was a certain potency, and it just comes down to this game, which I'm not that excited about, to be honest.
Why not?
I mean,
why? You're talking about Russ versus Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau.
2 of the best quarterbacks.
Russ and 10 other guys who pretty lost. To be
Tyler
honest.
Lockett's
good.
I don't.
DK Metcalf just set the record. Marshawn Lynch is a Super Bowl winner.
So is Terry Bradshaw. I mean, like,
he's a great quarterback.
I mean, if you took him off the street right now.
I just feel that both these teams are a little bit flawed. Obviously, Seattle has had a lot of problems with the run game. Their defense hasn't been particularly good. Jadeveon Clowney doesn't live up to expectations. It hasn't lived up to expectations. Kind of the same deal for the Packers, really. Their defense is stronger, but I think it all comes down to quarterback play in this one. You got to give that edge to Aaron Rodgers. I think that
hot take. Not based on this season.
I think that in this game it'll come down to Aaron Rodgers.
Don't forget it was his MVP pick.
that he was my MVP.
Aaron Rodgers, bad man, MVP pick from Mike.
5 touchdowns.
Yeah, Mike just getting off on one game right there.
But no, I think that Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs at home is not going to lose to Russell Wilson and the Seahawks team. So that's why I'm going with.
And even if you look at the minutia, if we're looking to compare outside of quarterback, which is almost a dead heat.
We're talking route trees, Bryce?
No, if we're looking to compare each player at each position for each of these teams, let's even just look at the skill positions. I'll take Aaron Jones over Marshawn. I'll take Devontae Adams over Tyler Lockett. I'll take Jimmy Graham over Jacob Hollister every single time.
That last one's kind of close. Jimmy Graham's not had a great season. Neither is Jacob Hollister, to be fair, but I'd say that's a wash at tight end.
I mean, Jacob Hollister's a former fullback.
So that means he can block. Jimmy Graham doesn't block at all.
That's fine. I'll take my 6'5" basketball player. Antonio Gates made it work. Antonio Gates made a Hall of Fame career out of that. Jimmy Graham looked to be on that pace too until Breeze said bye.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the AFC now this week. We have Tennessee at Baltimore. Amer, lead us off with the expert analysis on this one. Expert
analysis? Why do I have the expert analysis? Is because I watched the Tennessee-New England game very closely and cried the whole time. It was a tough game, but in this one, I think it's you can't bet against the MVP, Lamar Jackson.
Potential MVP.
The future MVP, Lamar Jackson, and the rest of the Ravens. I was talking to these guys, and I was saying that Baltimore is the team that the Titans wish they were. Strong on the ground. They obviously Baltimore is one of the best run offenses in the NFL, and they can stop the run. And that's exactly what Tennessee does, but they just don't do it as well as Baltimore. And so I'm going to take Baltimore just because they do everything that Tennessee does better than Tennessee does it. So running with Baltimore.
Begrudgingly, I will also take Baltimore. I'm ready to nail on the head. Tennessee is Baltimore light. That's what they are. Yeah. Marcus Peters, who they got in the trade with Los Angeles, has been exceptional since coming over. So now they have a top-tier corner on the back end. Derrick Henry, he can make anyone look bad. Anybody. He is a 6'2" back that runs a 4.40. That is unbelievable.
Truck.
Unbelievable. He's the X factor in this game. He absolutely is the X factor in this game. But that being said, I still don't think it'll be enough. And Baltimore is just too good. And as a coach, I'll take John Harbaugh over Mike Vrabel, especially with playoff pedigree and just general knowledge of the game.
I actually prefer Taysom Hill as a guy who can truck anyone. As we saw yesterday,
he was
running through people.
I want ESPN to start allowing me to play him in my flex spot. That's what I want.
Why not?
The man's a tight end.
Why not? Dude, he's all everything.
He's the top 6 tight end in football.
Taysom, what position do you play?
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to agree with the Baltimore pick here. I just think that Lamar Jackson is very exciting, but even more exciting for Baltimore fans. No, not more exciting, but
almost as exciting.
Almost as exciting as the Baltimore defense, which has been fantastic all year. And I think the Titans kind of have to scheme to get past these very good defenses. They managed to get past the Patriots, which they were a very good defense, but the offenses there were more compatible, I think, where the Patriots, I mean, Tom Brady is now just really a dumb passer at this point. It's like everything is within 5 yards.
You were defending him in that earlier
everything
episode,
is within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Should we revisit that debate?
Everything is within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and anything that isn't is dropped by Julian Edelman.
Yeah, he led the league in drops this season, Julian Edelman did. Almost double-digit drops this season.
Julian, get in the slot.
Yeah. Then he scores a touchdown.
That worked.
Okay.
That worked. But, I just think that Baltimore has a similar defense to the Patriots, but their offense is just that much better. They're a machine on offense. So I think that Baltimore will come away victorious in this matchup here.
It's crazy. They do it with one play. They run the read option the whole way down the field.
Have you ever seen an Army game?
It's a college offense.
Basically the same
college offense.
No. But Army is just like we pass once in a long while. Anyway, moving on to our second AFC game here. Equally as interesting as the first.
Yep.
Bryce, who do you like in the Texans at Chiefs game?
This is going to be an absolute shootout. You're talking about the 10th and the 12th pick in their drafts, respectively, be that Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson.
Big points.
Don't forget about the second.
That would be Mitchell Trubisky.
Trubisky, ouch.
Who has not lived up to the hype, to be blunt. This is going to be a lot of fun, but I'm going to defer to the better coach and the better quarterback, and that's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is ready to take the crown of the AFC, potentially. But to do that, they have to get past Deshaun Watson. Both defenses are dumpster fires. They're not good.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce over Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins. It's exceptional both ways.
That's pretty close.
Exceptional both ways. It's going to be a 56-50 game, and Kansas City's going to come out on top.
I think when you add Tyreek Hill to the Kansas City equation.
That's true, too, with Will Fuller hurt.
I think now you're looking like 56-30.
Really? They're going to win by 26, the Chiefs?
Dude, I think this Chiefs game is a blowout potential, and the Ravens game. Both blowout potential.
I mean, absolutely, but one thing to mention, and this has gone a little bit under the radar, Juan Thornhill's out for the season. He's their safety. But he's been rookie safety. Very, very good. He's been anchoring the back end. Deshaun Watson can exploit that. They're going to run, maybe just cover ones now. Watson's going to destroy that. I don't know.
Expert analysis.
Yeah, Juan Thornhill. Juan Thornhill.
He knows his safeties. I'm going to agree with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're a good team. I know that they lost to the Texans earlier in the season, but that was a long time ago. That was like week 4, week 5. That was a whole eon ago. The Patriots were undefeated back then. But the Kansas City's just too good. Their defense has actually been playing a lot better as of late in December. They've improved every week this season. And once they got Patrick Mahomes back, they went on a tear. So I like Kansas City in this game. But I do think it's going to be closer than you guys are projecting. I think Houston, especially with Deshaun Watson, he can just make stuff happen. That's the kind of player he is. He can go out and win you a game just by himself. He's that good. But I am going to pick Kansas City in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with the Kansas City selection here. I think for me, when I'm thinking about Houston, I'm going to always think back to that, I think it was around week 13 game against the Ravens, where they just showed up lifeless, and I think they lost 40-6. If I'm a Texans fan, I'm afraid that that's the team that I'm going to see this weekend. Because I could very well see that happening where the Chiefs just come in, Patrick Mahomes throws 3 touchdown passes, and by the end of the first quarter, they're up 3 touchdowns. Like, very possible. So that's kind of what I'd fear as a Texans fan. I do think that if Deshaun Watson plays well, they can make it a close game, but I just think that the Chiefs' offense is that much better. As Bryce mentioned, both of these defenses, whether they're in cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, or cover 6, I think both these defenses are rather weak. I just think
hot take.
I just think that Patrick Mahomes will outperform Deshaun Watson, and he also has more weapons. I think DeAndre Hopkins and Tyreek Hill. DeAndre Hopkins might be a little bit better, but I do think that Travis Kelce is better than
Darren Fells.
And let's not forget, as much as it's going to hurt Michael's feelings, currently anyway, Damian Williams, Carlos Hyde.
Oh man.
I'll let that sit.
Yeah, just one thing, I guess, in favor of Houston, they're getting J.J. Watt back.
He was back this week.
I know. That was both a locker room thing, like a morale thing for the
he's the heart and soul of this team.
And when you're bringing back one of the best defenders of all time, it can't hurt. So he made some big plays in that Buffalo game. So maybe if he comes up with a couple big-time plays, a couple Hall of Fame plays, Houston will be right in it.
And I know that they mention this a lot, but just think of the fact that those 3 brothers were all in the same family. Like, what is that like?
What?
It's just like, whoa. Yeah. You guys aren't as amazed by this?
They're big boys, yeah.
Like it's like their career plan is like, oh, go to Wisconsin and then go into the NFL. Go to Wisconsin,
be a beast in the NFL. Yeah.
It's just crazy.
It happens, man.
Imagine,
genetics.
You look at it like
look at the Bosa's.
A bunch of like 6 foot.
Yeah.
But there's 3 of these lots.
And there's also the Bosa dad, if you want to count the Bosa dad.
There's a Watt dad, too. But, like, that just amazes me. Growing up, like, there must have been
some big fights.
Yeah,
some blood. Some definitely blood has been shed in the Watt household with those boy fights.
Large guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we've all kind of splintered off, except for these 2 gentlemen.
Yeah,
we've all kind of splintered off into different picks. So we're just going to go down our individual playoff scenarios from this point on. Amir, how do you see the championship games in each conference and the Super Bowl going?
Yeah, so if you're keeping track at home, my championship matchups are going to be the top 2 seeds in both conferences. So it'll be Kansas City at Baltimore.
Original.
Yep, very original. Yeah. Kansas City at Baltimore, and then Green Bay going out west to San Francisco. And we'll start out west. I'm going to roll with San Francisco. We all saw what happened last time these 2 teams played in San Francisco, 43-8. That's not good. not good news for the Packers. This defensive line of the Niners just destroyed the Packers offense, and I don't see that changing. I do think it's going to be closer. It's the playoffs. NFL's got to keep the ratings up somehow. So it's going to be a closer game, but I do think that San Francisco is going to come out on top. I don't really see the Packers winning this game. And on the other side, in the AFC, Kansas City traveling to Baltimore. I'm actually going to roll with the 2 seed here. I think it's Kansas City's time. Patrick Mahomes is just one of a kind. 50 touchdowns last year. If he wasn't hurt, he probably would have set the touchdown, or he would have led the league in touchdowns again this year. And as we said, they're getting hot at the right time. Their defense is getting a lot better. And I like Kansas City in this game.
As Amir alluded to earlier,
I guess it was a Super Bowl at the end. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Ow. As Amir alluded to earlier, he and I have been mirroring picks the whole way, and that's going to continue. I'm going to pick San Francisco. That defense is it's too good. And it's going to be in San Francisco, so you lose the advantage the Packers do of being at Lambeau Field. And I'm going to take Kyle Shanahan over Matt LaFleur. I keep harping on coaches, but when it comes to the playoffs, it's a big, big thing. Just look at Bill Belichick. We'll go Packers in the NFC. In the AFC, I'm also going to take the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wait, you're taking San Francisco, not the Packers.
Yeah, San Francisco, excuse me. Take the 49ers in the NFC. And in the AFC, I'll take the Kansas City Chiefs. You're looking at 2 prolific offenses, 2 prolific quarterbacks right now, but I'm going to take the guy that I actually view as the better quarterback, and that's Patrick Mahomes.
As a quarterback, not just the better quarterback.
That's also true. That's also true.
That's your opinion.
That is my opinion.
Bryce's opinion do not reflect the opinions of between the 20s.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the disclaimer. Patrick Mahomes.
We'd be wrong on a lot if they did.
It would be even worse if it was you, if you were our spokesman.
I get the people going.
Patrick Mahomes is, as Amir said, one of a kind. It's the baseball background, can throw from anywhere, can throw from any arm angle, any kind of motion. He's spectacular, and I think the Chiefs are just hungry after what happened last year against the New England Patriots. This team is going to be... I would be very, 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 very scared to play against Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes on a mission.
I have the same AFC Championship game, but I'm going to go the opposite direction. I think that as scary as the Chiefs might be, I think that the Ravens are scarier. I mean, you got weapons on offense. You have obviously led by Lamar Jackson. You have Mark Ingram back there, also fantastic. And then you also have, it all comes together so well. You have Hollywood Brown as the deep threat there, but in reality, he's looking more towards Mark Andrews than his average pass. And I just think that method works out so well. But also, key thing to remember, that method is one where it's kind of like completion-based, short passes, and runs.
Yep.
Which means that they can draw the clock out a little bit more. Which means that Kansas City won't be able to put up one of those huge blowout games for sure. But then looking to the offensive side, if Kansas City has the ball less, they're also playing a Ravens defense that I think is pretty strong. And I think that Ravens defense will be able to manage Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs offense. And I just think that in the end, John Harbaugh, and the coaching of the Ravens will bring them past the offensive-minded Andy Reid. I feel confident now.
Definitely could happen. They are the 1 seed for a reason. They've been the best team probably in the NFL for the whole season. It's debatable between them and the San Francisco 49ers. I just like Kansas City in this game.
And then for me in the NFC, I have Minnesota at Green Bay. Once again,
third time this season.
I felt like the NFC was so strong. Like there was some really good teams there. There's the Rams. They're gone. The Cowboys were like...
The Rams were not strong.
Not strong.
They struggled this year. A lot of injuries for the Rams. But, I mean, for it to come down to this game is kind of disappointing to me. But I am going to lean with the Packers. I just don't think you can go up against Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. And obviously at Lambeau Field now because Minnesota lost the NFC North here.
Yeah.
So I feel confident in the Packers there.
Yep.
So that brings us to our Super Bowl matchups. Amir and Bryce both have San Francisco. How would this work? Who's? Oh, it's neutral.
It's in Miami.
It's in Miami,
South Beach,
right next to Gronk Beach.
It's in South Beach. Bryce and I have Kansas City against San Francisco, right? I guess I'll go first. And I'm just going to keep it simple. Everyone knows the old saying, defense wins championships. I think it's going to prove to be correct again this year. San Francisco is just too good. And even if it's not a defensive game, even if it's a big shootout, the Niners have shown that they can keep up. They kept up with the Saints in that big game. What was it, like 58-56 or something like that?
Yeah.
Crazy game against New Orleans and San Francisco. And they've won anyway.
48-46.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Whatever. 48-46. Excuse me. Anyway, both those games, San Francisco show that they can win with offense, and obviously they can shut down teams with their defense. So I think Patrick Mahomes is actually going to have a tough day against San Francisco, and I'm rolling with the Niners. Mike Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo are going to get the win.
Defenses might win championships, but offenses win games. And
Chicks dig the long ball.
And this is still one more game for everything. And I'm going to take the best quarterback in the league. That's the central component of any championship caliber team outside of the 2000 Ravens, which were led by Trent Dilfer. That team was led by Ray Lewis. But I digress. Patrick Mahomes is spectacular. And if you're talking about anyone that could overcome that Niner defense, it's going to be Pat Mahomes. Yeah. And of late, they haven't looked fantastic. Russell Wilson has put up 20-plus points against them twice. That is Russell Wilson. But still, he's a comparable quarterback to Patrick Mahomes with worse weapons than the Chiefs have in Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. And you can even argue Sammy Watkins. Kansas City is going to be out there ready to win this game. Andy Reid wants to win this game. He, of course, has not won a Super Bowl yet. I like them to, in somehow an upset, come in against the top defense in the league and put up enough points to keep Jimmy Garoppolo down. And the Kansas City Chiefs will defeat the San Francisco 49ers in a somewhat surprising Super Bowl.
I don't know how, but I'm the only one to have the consensus best team in the NFL in the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I think the Niners are the best team in the NFL.
In the Baltimore Ravens. I have the Packers and Ravens in my Super Bowl, and I'm going to go with the Ravens. I just think this one is very easy to pick. I just think there are a lot of holes in the Green Bay defense when it comes to going up against Lamar Jackson, and I think that the Ravens defense is strong enough to, once again, with these quarterbacks in the playoffs, it's more about me kind of just holding them off and make sure they don't go for huge games. Yeah. And I think that the Ravens defense can do that to Aaron Rodgers, even though he is just a fantastic quarterback in the playoffs, especially when the game is on the line.
So you're projecting Lamar Jackson to break the streak of MVPs that don't win a Super Bowl?
That's like a meaningless.
Not really.
What do you guys see the correlation there in that statistic?
A lot.
And winning Super Bowl?
Probably one guy that puts up insane numbers because the rest of his team can't keep up.
He's not as good.
Matt Ryan.
Tom Brady having a
Tom Brady. Matt Ryan was up 28-3 in the Super Bowl.
They still lost.
Choked.
Because Matt Ryan had to put up those numbers because the defense was so bad. But the defense proved poor again.
But his team was not bad in the Super Bowl. They choked, but they were doing well.
Choke and bad are like synonymous.
That's not true.
Doing poorly is choking.
No, doing poorly in very key situations.
That's what they did. They were up 25 points with 15 minutes left in this football game.
Yes.
No, well...
18 minutes left in this football game.
Yeah.
How is that not a choke job? How is that not poor football?
If you're saying that the team is that bad, then they just come in and get steamrolled.
No, but Matt Ryan's good enough was in that season good enough.
Then why isn't he good enough for the next quarter? It's just like a sample size thing. I don't know.
So you just don't believe in this superstition at all?
Which one? The MVP?
The MVPs, though, that don't win a Super Bowl.
There's some rationale behind it, but that's not very good.
What about the whole wildcard teams don't make the Super Bowl? The last one wildcard team to get to the Super Bowl was the Giants in 2011.
That makes sense because they have to
play
win
more games.
Yeah, they have to. If you look at it, it's a very negative way to look at it, but they have one less chance to lose, and they're also on the road.
Yeah. What else? I'm trying to think. Peyton Manning got destroyed. He was the MVP, bringing in the best offense.
Cam Newton
couldn't get it done in 2015. Tom Brady, Matt Ryan.
I don't think that much to it. What does it say that all these MVPs went to the Super Bowl?
That they couldn't finish.
We'll see. Anyway, that wraps up our current playoff predictions. As always, hit us up with a like, follow. What else do we do? What other social media we on?
Give us subscribe to this
Give us a woof.
What?
It's from The Office.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Woof.
But you can find all those up there. And
drop a comment.
That's it. Have a great week. We will see you on the channel. Until next time, this has been Between the 20s.